Well, today I want to talk about something I may have talking about something I've spoken about maybe 2 times before, for sure once, I don't know, maybe twice. FDIC insurance on your money in your bank. What exactly is it? What does it cover? And what does it not cover? What circumstances or what events happening to your bank account does it cover and not cover? And how much money is in that fund, that insurance fund, to insure all of these deposits? Because every sign that you've ever seen in a bank that says FDIC insured, FDIC insured, and believe me, they parade that sign around pretty much from any angle. If you're in the drive-thru of the bank, you see it. If you're in the inside lobby, you see it. You're standing in line, about to go up to the teller, you see that sign, FDIC insured. And that's their way of saying, hey, you know, don't bank with a bank that doesn't have FDIC insurance. Bank with us because you are insured. And naturally, that would make you feel more comfortable. Sure, oh, you have insurance? Good, right? I'm insured. It used to be up to $100,000, right? Yep. And didn't they change that to $200,000 or I think $250,000? And then at one point during the crisis of the last several years, financial crisis, they had unlimited amounts. Just don't worry about it. Your money is completely safe, because so much money was leaving our country so fast, they had to do it. And I remember hearing a congressman that I think was on C-SPAN talking about it and saying how many billions, tens of billions or whatever it was, maybe even trillions, some absurd number that was leaving our shores daily. That's why they had to pass that law temporarily till everything calmed back down, right? And then they put it back the way it was, which was, I believe, $250,000 of insurance. So if you have $250,000 in your bank account and that bank goes belly up, you're safe. FDIC insurance will cover you. However, when you add up all the deposits in America from citizens, etc., that are at banks that have FDIC insurance, and as a matter of fact, you don't even have to, if you just include the 250,000 limit, if there was a catastrophic failure of several banks, big banks especially, even medium-sized banks to tell you the truth, there would not be enough money in that fund. That fund is known as the DIF fund. There would not be enough money in it to take care of what they've already promised you that they would have, which is up to $250,000 in deposits. So they have on the book, so to speak, anyways, a law that in a catastrophic event, the FDIC can have a window, lending window basically, of direct access to $500, I believe, billion, $500 billion in just the utmost emergency. But that's it. They can't get any more. And there's no such thing as, well, listen, we need to backstop $3 trillion or even $2 trillion worth of deposits. And by the way, there's somewhere between $6 and $7 trillion, I believe, in citizens' deposits in these banks in this country. So half of $1 trillion is all that they could ever come up with. That's scary in itself, okay? The other side of this is what is covered and what is not covered through FDIC insurance, that fund. The only way you will ever get your money back is if the bank is in some type of default situation. For example, a bank closes, it got bought up by another bank, right? Like you heard, it was right after the financial crisis of 2008 and 9. During that time period, I was going to the FDIC website, government website, every Friday and looking at how many banks failed and what the cost to the DIF fund was. Sometimes it was $1 billion. Sometimes it was $200 million, $400 million, $500 million that the DIF fund had to pick up because of a failed bank. So while that's happening like every Friday almost, it's been happening, I have not looked in a very long time, by the way, so I don't know what the numbers look like nowadays. How is that money being replenished is my question. I know there's a tiny little fee that these banks have to pay to be maintain a membership to the FDIC, but is it enough to offset what the FDIC insurance fund has been paying all these years in failed banks? So what I've learned is that the only thing FDIC insurance will pay is during a default situation of a bank. They don't have the funds, they've defaulted, etc., which is exactly what happened with all these banks that I'm telling you about previously, last few years. You'll read it on their website, bank closed, and they got shotgun Mary off to another bank, and that bank's going to take some of the losses as part of the deal because now they're getting all of that, the accounts of that former bank. And then the DIF fund says, well, that's their cost, but our cost is such and such, which is the cost that I looked at, that said, okay, $500 million here, $200 million there, etc. It's only in that situation. Bank has closed its doors, bankruptcy. That's the only way FDIC insurance will cover you. So I started thinking, you know, after the last 2 years or so, we've heard a lot about, you know, hackers and banks, and we've heard even our own Congress talk about, you know, what would happen if a sophisticated group of hackers got into the banking system, and, you know, the threat exists and blah blah blah. And I always thought, why are they trying to push that? Why are they really saying that? What's the point, right? Are they just saying that to try to secure that stupid law, the Cybersecurity Act, all that crap, to basically regulate the internet once again, you know, control the internet in the flow of information? Is that why they're saying that, just to use that as an excuse? Or do they plan on the financial system going down in the most epic failure ever, in which they blame it on hackers from pick your country that we hate, Russia now, China maybe, how about Syria, right? All these countries we want to go and invade, not necessarily Russia and China, but Syria, maybe Iran, etc. If they were to say you wake up one day and your bank account has been wiped out, you can't even log in, you call the bank, and as you're on the phone, your favorite message comes up, due to high call volume, blah 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 blah. That's funny. It's, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning when my bank first opened. Guess some other people are having trouble too. Then long story short, you can't get through. You finally hear it on the news that a major hacking attempt was made on such and such bank, or several banks, and we believe it was the Iranians, we believe it was the Syrians, you know, whoever. Maybe it was anonymous, right? Maybe it was the Tea Partiers. And they've wiped out the banking system, at least of those few banks. And somehow the backups of all the data is also gone. And they've got nothing. They have nothing for you. Don't know how much money you had. We don't even know that you used to be our customer. We have nothing. No proof whatsoever. Just got wiped out in a hacking attempt. In that type of scenario, your funds are not covered by the FDIC. Not even a tiny bit, not even a penny. You get nothing. Good day, sir. It's interesting on how any type of real asset, the same rule applies, which is, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Even though on paper you own it. Right? On paper or digital screens, I can log into my bank account and see this digital number that says that's what I have in my bank account as far as money. I can then go there and pull out cash if I want to, based on that amount of money. But I don't own it, do I? I've relinquished ownership to let the bank hold it for me. Because everything's so easy nowadays. I can go online and pay my bill, and I can do this and that, right? It's ease of use. It's hard to get away from. Gold and silver. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. Same rule applies. Digital fiat currency of all fiat currency, known as Bitcoin. Backed by absolutely nothing. You don't even get a piece of paper. It's just a digital blip on the internet that says this is your number. Kind of like logging into your bank account. How many times have I got on here and done a video of such and such company just ran off with a bunch of people's Bitcoins. This company just went bankrupt with a bunch of people's Bitcoins. That guy got caught stealing a bunch of people's Bitcoin. And each and every single case was, well, they had their Bitcoins online on that person's website or whatever, exchange, and did not transfer them to their own wallet on their own desktop on their PC. As easy as it is to click a couple buttons, to just hold it in your own wallet, and then when you decide, I think I want to sell it, then you can transfer it to the online website of your choice, and then make the transaction. It'll take several minutes, whatever. And in that instance, you do own it, because you are holding it on your own computer. And you have the opportunity to make backups of your own computer, send that file, that wallet file, to yourself in an email, so that you have it in an email as well. You have it backed up, right? Nah, we're going to trust the system and just put it out there and let it sit there. And there were people who, when Bitcoin was $900 or $1,000, had several hundreds of Bitcoins in their alleged possession, but it was in their online account, which went bankrupt, went away, not sure what happened. We were getting denial of service attacks. It brought the system down. Somehow someone came in and transferred a bunch of Bitcoin, and we can't catch them. We don't know what happened. Right. If you had all those Bitcoin on your own wallet, on your desktop, that would have never affected you, not in the least likely way. Nothing. Even if you were using that exchange to buy and sell Bitcoin, if you decide, I gotta sell I'm going to go ahead and send 10 Bitcoin today, you do the transfer right then and there. It happens, great. If you happen to be unlucky and did that transfer right at that moment when one of these exchanges was shutting down, and your Bitcoin did make it into that exchange, and then they told you something happened, it's gone, at least you only got rid of 10 and you still got the other 90 or whatever you happen to have there. Or if you happen to be ready to sell all of your Bitcoin at that particular precise moment, yes, you would have been in trouble. However, those odds sound a lot better than just leaving it there the entire time, doesn't it? So the same thing applies. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. That goes for the money that you think is insured in the FDIC's fund. And it only covers bankruptcy situations. If a bank is attacked, hacked, etc., and your money goes away due to that issue, that is not bankruptcy. You are not insured. This is why you have to have a very nice, and some might call it expensive, burglar-proof safe. But if you could get a safe for $800, $900, $1,000, which people might say, oh my God, that's a lot of money for a freaking safe. If you had $50, $60, $70, $80, $100, whatever, $1,000 in your bank, and you're getting nervous, there's nowhere else you could put it that is safe, except in your own safe that's bolted to the ground, the concrete floor, etc. Then you hold it and you own it, because now it's in your possession. So that's why you got to get a safe. But in this long scheme of things, if you had tens of thousands of dollars in your bank account that you felt nervous about, that you want to bring back out and put into your own safe, what's an $800,000, $900,000 safe really, when you consider it's holding 50 times that amount of money in it, $50,000, etc. It's not expensive at all at that point. Not only that, you can put your silver in there and your dollars, etc. I usually keep more money in my safe than I do in my bank account, because I don't trust the banking system, as I've mentioned many times, numerous reasons why. And as you saw in Cyprus and Greece and all these other places that had this little experience of themselves over their financial problems, they were limiting withdrawals constantly. They're trying to find ways to tax people for money in their bank. You name it. If you have that money in a safe and it's been there for a while, even if it's not been there for a while, as long as you do it before that type of thing happens, you're covered. They can't go back and say, oh, there's $500 a day limit with withdrawals from banks now. You can't take any more than $500 of your own money out, daily limit, unless authorized by, so-and-so. Yeah, okay. You go right into your safe and take out as much cash as you want to. You don't have to worry about it. But if you tried doing that after that rule was implemented in your country, it's too late. If you're even a day too late, it's too late. You're done. Because once that kicks in, the banks can't say, well, for you, we'll go ahead and let you take out, $10,000 today. No. The government just made it a law that we cannot allow more than $500 of withdrawals, and we're not going to. Number one, they're not going to because the government said so. Number two, maybe even number one, would be because they ain't got the funds to give everybody. It's not there. But you have to understand, banks lend out 90% of the money that they have in its coffers, which is your money. They lend it out because they don't expect you to ever come back and say, okay, I know I put $20,000 in here at one point. I want $20,000 out now. That's very, very rare. The average person leaves the money there. They have the false sense of security by looking online, seeing a number. I do have $20,000 in there, okay. And I took out $100 today. It showed, okay, $19,900 in there. Okay, yeah. It all matches. I feel comfortable. They don't need to be carrying around $20,000 with them, obviously. And they probably think, again, even if I had a little safe in here, someone could break in and maybe crack the safe or break, that bothers me. Right, that's because you're talking about a little piece of crap safe from Walmart or even Lowe's, some of the smaller ones, that they use the word safe, but it's nothing more than a fireproof box that can be cut into very quickly, very rapidly, and stolen. The goods out of there would be stolen quickly. That's why you have got to get a burglar-proof safe, is what they call that. There's actually a rating on the safe. Burglar-proof really means something. Those safes I just talked about from Lowe's or Walmart, not burglar-proof. Not at all. Matter of fact, you can go to YouTube right now and watch. Just type in that kind of thing. Fireproof safe, breaking into, something like that. You'll see people with little sawzalls, even the freaking battery-operated ones, cutting through those things easily and then opening them and showing you how ridiculous you were to even think that those things were really a safe. It's kind of like nowadays in America when you go to get food, calling it food is almost ridiculous because there's so much crap and chemicals in it. It's just a little bit food and then more and then chemicals. Unbelievable. Hope you learned something today. If you don't hold it in your possession, you don't own it. Think about that. Take care.